So, hello, welcome back to the Compendium of Discomfort. My name is Michael and I just thought by myself, Michael, what movie are you gonna watch tonight? And then I realized, no, I'm not gonna watch anything because I will just talk about a movie that's this one. She Taught Me Serendipity, or Kyono Soda ga Ichiban Suki to Mada Ienai Boku wa. The title is too long. Some people say the movie is too long. Too long. Some people say the movie is too long. It is not. It's a good length, even though it is long, but that is all good. If everything went accordingly to my plan, I will show you some scenes, not from the movie, but from the locations of the movie, because I'm planning to go there in a couple of days. So I hope that works out and the weather won't be too terrible. So then I at least can show you where the movie was shot, because it's actually an Osaka movie. Like, they made maps, and you can visit the locations all around the Osaka University. A bit of the movie is set in Kyoto at Demachi Yanagi, where I have been a lot. I ate some very delicious yakitori there. Good, so if all is going to plan, I will show you some videos from my tour around the university, but I haven't done that yet, so maybe I'm promising too much. We will find out. Anyway, so this is a movie that I wasn't really looking forward to. The director is Akiko Ohku, and I have so far seen one other of her movies. That was My Sweet Grappa Remedies, and that one has some things in common with this one. They're both literature adaptations, and they're both based on books written by comedians. And I heard good things about some of her other movies, especially Tremble All You Want, but I still haven't seen them. So, second for me here. And the main cast are three people. Riku Hagiwara, who I have seen especially in Wilderness, or I think it's just Wilderness. The R is just in the Japanese title. I think like a 5-hour boxer drama, which was absolutely gorgeous. And I saw him seemingly in Kingdom, but I don't remember him. Kingdom. Did some other stuff as well, but yeah. Then we have Yumi Kawai. We talked about Yumi Kawai a lot here, so you know I love her, and she's amazing, and she's wonderful. And seemingly she did a TV show together with the director, so they already had a pretty good relation when they did this. And then we have Aoi Ito, who was, for example, in the absolutely fantastic Missing, or Her Love Boils Bathwater, or Intolerance. And that's the main cast. And when I saw the trailer for this movie here, I felt like, oh yeah, cool. Now Yumi Kawai is famous enough to do generic romantic movies to please the crowd, and it doesn't really look all that amazing. And yeah, it just looked like a very generic movie. And so I didn't watch it for the first couple of weeks, and that turned out to be quite a hit, at least here in Osaka. I mean, it's an Osaka movie. So I got a little bit more interested, and I decided, yeah, I should go and watch it. Worst case, I see a nice Osaka movie. I love a good Osaka movie. So that's another reason why you should watch Missing. And just hearing the nice dialect. I can hear it every day, but who cares? It's good. So I decided to watch it, and I watched the movie. And I came out, I went to the bathroom, and some guy, I think there were some people who were extras in the movie, or who know people who were extras in the movie. I'm not 100% sure. I just heard their jibber jabber while waiting for the movie before it started. So one of them came in there, was like, it was like a B-movie movie drama and not very excited. Yeah, so just another movie, not very good. And then I check Letterboxd to tell Letterboxd how I felt about the movie, and I see just a lot of like half a star, 1 star, 1.5 stars. What's going on here? Because I felt like it's so far one of the best movies of the year, and I really, really loved it. And what's wrong here? So there are a lot of weird reviews that are just like insults. Some people say it's too long, and I mean 127 minutes can feel long. I didn't feel like it's long. It totally deserves that runtime, so wasn't a problem for me. And I think the main issue that people had is, one, the characters are weird, and number two, it's not very realistic. And especially point number two is something I want to talk about a little more in a general context a little bit later. But first, let's talk about this movie, which is first very, very well made. So there are some scenes that are so gorgeous, so wonderful, so nice to look at. I just want to watch it again. The acting is really, really good. Someone wrote it's like high school, like university students just trying to act. No, that's absolutely not true. They're really, really good. There's 3 big monologue scenes which are all fantastic, really moving stuff. And I completely disagree with the acting being bad. I mean, Yumi Kawa is not a bad actress. She's really, really good. And especially Aoi Ito in this movie is fantastic. So can't agree with that at all. And then, yeah, we have the weirdness. So to understand the weirdness, let me talk about the story for a little bit. So we have a boy who always runs around with an umbrella. No matter what weather, he has an umbrella, he has a parasol, he just walks around with an umbrella and always has that. Seems to make him feel better or something, I don't know. And someday he notices a girl in his class who seems a little bit odd as well, but he feels very drawn to her. And of course then we get the seemingly generic romance, and they're both a little awkward, like she always tries to get out of class really quickly, and in the pamphlet here, they notice something that I didn't notice, but when she eats soba, like noodles that you dip in sauce, and usually you would like bend over the bowl a little bit, but she eats them completely like straight. So they're both little awkward people, a little weird. Sometimes there's a dog running around who he knows, and he's doggy, and and that dog belongs to the cafe where she works. So yeah, somehow they managed to never meet, but they just hit it off, and we feel like there's some connection. And relatively soon, that's the last bit I will spoil here, it gets revealed that they both struggle with loss in the family. For him, it was the grandmother, and for her, it was her father, who both passed away not so long ago. And then they didn't really, or especially he didn't really feel like going to university. And now he's back and tries to become more like a social person again. But yeah, you can see they struggle. And I would say this weirdness that they have is a little bit like due to this loss. I mean, if you lose someone, you're very emotionally damaged. You stay home for quite a long time. That does stuff to you. So then when you come back, maybe you're not even the same person you were before, and maybe you gain some new ticks or things. So I don't really mind that. And I mean, here, what I would say is unrealistic. It's the very, very charming kind of weird, more a little bit the manic pixie dream girl kind of weird. Here the thing is that the female characters, there's one more female character we haven't really talked about, are all portrayed from his point of view. So that makes them even a little bit more of a mystery. Like Yumi Kawai said in the interview in the pamphlet, that she had a little bit of a struggle first to really find the character, because it's just from his perspective, not even like her inside, and that made it a little bit more difficult to find that character and find out what she is and what she wants. And I guess that adds to the weirdness of the movie. And yeah, I would say it's not even that weird. They're a little bit quirky people who do some quirky things in a little bit quirky world. I think nothing here is like really, really realistic. But yeah, let's finish the B plot before we get to the weirdness. We have one more female character. Like, he works in a public baths, like cleaning and stuff, and there's one more girl working with him, and she seems to be very interested in him. She's very fun, very entertaining, a nice person to be around, and she recommends him a song that's called Hatsukoi Crazy by the band Spitz, and Hatsukoi basically means first love, and if a girl recommends a song with that title to a boy, it's quite obvious that she likes him, but because he's all about Yumi Kawai, he doesn't really see her in that. She's more like a friend-zoned person here for him, and yeah, he doesn't really get it. So we know this kind of triangle going on, and at some point there needs to be something that happens, so we get a little bit more drama, and it all screams at you like generic romantic movie, and that's not. But for that we have to spoil a lot, and we will do that at the end. So like I said, the acting is great, the whole feeling is great, how they film the set is great. There's this wonderful cafe where they go that only has like the weirdest food and drinks, or at least weird names for food and drinks, and omrice, like omelette on rice. That's an important thing in the movie. And yeah, like everything is a little bit over the top, a little bit glossy, gloomy, no, glossy, shiny, nice, beautiful. And I think the most realistic, or is it realistic that there are actual demonstrations going on against war? So I don't know, but yeah, basically it all feels a little bit over the top. It's a little bit too much, and seemingly many people don't like that, and I really don't know why. Because why would you even assume that a movie is realistic or even tries to be realistic? Because most movies, or almost every movie, is everything but realistic. If we would have movies about actually realistic, or let's say naturalistic people, you would be going crazy, because nobody actually acts in a sensical way. People would just do random stuff all the time. You would just want, like when people watch horror movies and say, "Oh, nobody would do that in that situation," I'm sure most people would do much sillier things in those kind of situations. And yeah, I think the most unrealistic thing about movies is that people actually behave in a way that makes sense. Yeah, that's for me the most unrealistic thing about movies already. And that's like the absolute baseline. Everything you see in movies is completely unrealistic. Nobody acts in a realistic way. Or in very, very few movies it might happen. But why would you expect it to be like that? I mean, even if it's set in seemingly the real world, why can't it be little heightened? Why does it have to be like me sitting on my couch in my t-shirt? Nobody wants to see. I hope you want to see that. Maybe I should wear prettier clothes, but I was too lazy. No, but that's the thing, that in most movies nobody cares. I mean, if you have the generic romantic movie, just the whole constellation of characters is usually so unrealistic that nobody would really buy that. And yeah, in action movies, just how people handle guns is completely unrealistic. There's never any recoil, like, or people shoot, bam, 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 bam. Usually you would, yep, that doesn't work like that. So just suspension of disbelief. Or I would say, for me, I wouldn't even call it that. I would just say I need to be able to believe that in the world where that is set, it makes sense. Yeah, just in the movie world that we're seeing, it needs to make sense somehow. And I think the people here, they're little quirky. They're not even that strange. And especially the core of their personality is very real, I would say. They have very real issues, very real problems. They might show them in a little bit strange manner, but yeah, why not? It's interesting, I would say. Why would you want to see the same old boring stuff that you've seen a million times? Why not a little bit quirky? Why not a little bit funny? And for example, one thing here is that these two people who are in a kind of romantic relationship never touch each other, which gives us one of the greatest scenes I've seen in a long time near the end. And most people wouldn't behave like that, but why not? And the other thing is, I think if you would just film very authentic Japanese people, many people in the West would be like, oh, and nobody acts like that, nobody does that, because people just don't know how people in Japan behave. And even in Japan, like, generational differences, older people would like, oh, no, nobody would, but the young kids do that, actually. That's the same everywhere. Everywhere's like, oh, what the kids do? That's weird. We didn't do that. We weren't like that. Yeah, so some people complained about the dialogue, that nobody talks like that. How do you know how Japanese people talk? I mean, it's not very naturalistic, but I mean, there are even like levels of realism. Like, for example, there's this theater director, Okada Toshiki, I think, who has super naturalistic plays, but they're all so heightened, like the realism is so exaggerated that it becomes completely weird, and that's great. And yeah, you can actually do that. It's okay. So this assumption that everything needs to be realistic is just silly. And just from my observation, since I came here, it's not a proper statistic. It's not scientifically proven, but I talked to so many people who said they prefer Korean dramas or Korean TV shows over Japanese ones because the Japanese ones are too realistic. Yeah, they're not happy enough. They're not beautiful enough. It's not positive enough, because people are just sick of depressing things. So They want something unrealistic because their life is depressing enough. So makes sense that you show something that's not real. Why not? So it's a very, very, very strange thing that people demand a movie to be realistic, even if the movie never made the promise to be realistic. There's a realistic thing here are the problems of the characters, the emotional core. And that's, for example, one thing I think Takashi Miike does much better than, for example, Mr. Nakashima was his name. The guy who made World of Kanako. No, let's say Tetsuya Nakashima, whose latest movie got delayed due to stuff. I explained that in the Shion Sono video. Anyway, for example, let's say Ichi the Killer and World of Kanako are two completely over-the-top, crazy, disgusting movies, but in Ichi the Killer, I feel like the characters have some kind of human, relatable core. So I understand their feelings, I understand their problems, I understand their issues, even if the way that it's played out in the movie is completely bollocks and just way over the top and grotesque and disgusting. While in World of Kanako, there's no human core. Nakashima can't do humans. They're like characters in the movie that have a function and they fulfill their function. Yeah, there's nothing even remotely human-like, even though maybe some people would say the movie is still closer to reality than Ichi the Killer, but I would say not at all, because the people are no people. There's nothing inside. It's just empty shells who do grotesque things or are victims of these grotesque things. So, yeah, it doesn't really make sense to demand realism from movies. I don't get that at all. And that includes acting as well. Many people say, or many people talk about Asian overacting. And yeah, if you watch silent movies, it's all overacting. Did you know? No, that used to be good acting. And I would say it's just a cultural thing. It depends on the time. And yeah, I would guess it depends on where the movie comes from. It's culture. Yeah, for example, I can imagine, I haven't checked that, but in Japanese movies, many characters like to express their feelings, especially through words, which you don't see so excessive in the real world. So I would say that's already different on purpose, because people want that. They wish to be like that, probably. Just my guess, yeah. But yeah, I don't really think many people want actual real movies. It just needs to be real enough to be believable, and I think this movie works perfectly fine on that level. I can imagine that these people exist somewhere in the world and behave like that, even though if I would see them, I would feel like, what are these weirdos doing? Yeah. So that's just the only thing. I need to believe that these people exist, and especially with these 3 monologues that happen in this movie, I would say that's completely like perfect emotional core, and I understand their issues perfectly fine. And yeah, it seems that there is a desire to express your feelings through many, many words, and some people say these monologues are too long, but they're very beautiful and very moving. So who cares if that's too long, and who cares if that would happen in reality? Sometimes I wish people were in reality, and look, I'm just monologuing here for 25 minutes, so that's much longer than what would happen in a movie. So you're still watching. If you're watching this, if you're not watching this, you proved me wrong. No, anyway, so it makes total sense for me, everything. And everything in this movie somehow has an effect on me. It makes me feel something. The way they interact with the other people makes a lot of sense to me, even though everything is a bit weird. By the way, if you don't like weird and stuff, why would you, for example, watch a Wes Anderson movie that's so far from reality? That's the same. I mean, this is not as eccentric, but it's the same idea. It doesn't need to be 100% real. Funnily enough, seemingly, I don't know that, but seemingly the director said that she wanted to do something like Richard Linklater's Before Sunset. Was it Linklater? I hope so. If I'm wrong, I will correct myself. And someone said Linklater would never do such eccentric characters, and that might be true. But I can imagine that people look at Before Sunrise. Did I say Before Sunrise? Probably Before Sunrise. This is the first one. I want to talk about the first one. I love it. I haven't seen it in many years, but I love it. But I can imagine that, for example, young people watch that movie now and feel like nobody behaves like that. I mean, it's pretty accurate for the time, and considering the age of the characters, it makes a lot of sense. But I can totally imagine people watching that movie now and be like, ugh, what's wrong with these people? Why are they talking like that? That's not real. It's not real anymore. It used to be. So yeah, I just wanted to point out that complaining about the lack of realism is weird. So please don't be weird. It's a gorgeous, wonderful, beautiful movie. That's some more details we need to spoil. So please just watch the movie, enjoy it, and then come back. Or if you don't care about spoilers, just keep listening. Anyway, so now big spoilers. You might not want them. I didn't know them, and I was very happy I didn't know them. But your choice. Last warning. Spoilers now. As it turns out, Aoito's character, who's in love with the main character, confesses to him. That's the first big speech. It's gorgeous. It's probably the best. In a dark alley at night, and then there's rain and stuff, and it's so beautiful, so wonderful. And the point she makes is that it's so difficult to be direct and just say what you want to say in a simple word, and that's why it goes into this big monologue. That's one of the main points the movie wants to make, that it's difficult to say easy things because it's very important that you start rambling. And just after that, she disappears, and the main couple make a plan to meet, but she disappears. So all the girls disappear from his life, and there's one scene where we like really notice how much we see the movie from his perspective. Like, he imagines a scene where she's at work talking to someone and just talking trash about him, and he falls into some kind of depression. A very great moment. Wonderful. Anyway, as it turns out, the girl died in an accident, and somehow he ends up at her house where the other girl is, and now they have both to get over another loss, because he was her friend and she is her sister, and it's fantastic. We get another monologue from Yumi Kawai, which is like just all super close up and very moving. Then he all the time he has this tick of just listening or watching TV, listening to music or watching TV with like full volume. And then they finally listen to the song that she always recommended to him, and he just pulls the volume up, and then he gives another big speech. And I think the funny thing is that she probably didn't hear a single word until the song was finally over. Like he's talking all through the song, and then when it's over, she just hears the important part of his speech. So somehow they managed to get around this long speech and just cut it to the main point while delivering the long speech. The funny thing is, while we watch it, the sound is, as in the music, is basically turned off, but then it goes up again, so we realize what we just saw. We get, we remember, oh my god, probably she didn't hear a word of all of that, but it's pretty great. And yeah, then the first time when those two touch each other is so grotesque, so weird, and it's a delightful, wonderful scene. And I just think you should watch it yourself. But it just works because they are so weird and because they never touch each other. So now how to get to this point where it's suddenly very touchy and kind of weirdly erotic. It's such a grotesque scene. It's very, very good, very entertaining. And then we have suddenly this sadness mixed with comedy, and it's just gorgeous how the tonality of this whole story works out. And because we watch everything to his perspective, so how the movie builds it up that he believes everything is about him and it's not really about him. Like, he needs to learn and accept that he's not the protagonist in the world, just of this movie and maybe of his life, but not everything happens because of him. And yes, it's all pretty great, and just a gorgeous movie. So I really don't get the bad reviews. If you have any chance, please watch it, especially like the monologues are so good. It's just a delightful, wonderful movie. So go for it, watch it. It's amazing. I would say at least top 5 of the year so far. I can't really make up my mind about the top movies, but it's really, really good. Go and watch it. And I guess that's it for me today. Thank you very much. Have a lovely time and see you soon.